It's an LLM terminal integration. However, what it does that I haven't seen before is actually that it knows the previous command and the output of the previous command that you executed. So you can very quickly just get the context that you need to answer a question into LLM. And I'm just going to show what that looks like. Is this big enough? A little bigger? Yeah. So basically this is just my shell. If I type AI me, a few things happen. First of all, it adds a unicorn to the shell prompt. This is actually important because it uses that to parse where the previous command started and where the output begins and ends. Other than that, it just starts logging everything that happens in the terminal to the file. And with this you can do a bunch of things. If I just type AI, it will actually run on a local model. However, today I'm going to use Grok, shout out to Grok, because it's just much faster and much nicer for a demo. Right, so I'm just going to show that. It's LLM, so you can talk to it. It complains that it doesn't see a command. However, we now see an ugly warning at the top. We've all been there. I tried something out. I should have made a new Conda environment for it, but I didn't, and now my environment is screwed up. Right? Let's see whether we can fix this. Help me fix this warning. Right, so it tells me that I've encountered a warning from Pydantic, a Python library. It gives me some code on how to fix this in my own code. But help, you are in the folder containing the code giving this warning. Help me find where Pydantic is actually used. Right, so it actually suggests I grep for it. This sounds good to me, so I'm going to tell it to actually do that. Sorry, this was the wrong command. So no, we're not going to do that. I'm just going to run this again. Right now, it only takes the input from the previous command. So I'm going to tell it to execute that. All right, let's see what happens. No, this is actually a lot. I'm going to ask it to only grep for the imports.
Did you do the grabbing or did it do the grabbing?
It did. It suggested the command to me, and I accepted, like, yes, please execute this.
Okay, but you didn't type it in.
I didn't type it in. No. Okay, yeah, that's the thing with the live demo, right? I'm gonna.
Can you make it a little bit larger?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, let's see whether this works. Actually, it's not gonna. Well, okay. So where is Pydantic used? Yeah, so it basically tells me that it's used in external, that it's used in the OpenAI library. That makes sense. Let's update it. Okay, it just suggests something to me, so let's execute that. No, I'm actually not happy with this. Right, I'm just gonna ask it to please update the OpenAI library. Of course, when I tried this out, it was a bit smoother, but alright, so it does that. Yeah, Joe did this, fix it. It actually didn't. Okay. Actually, hopefully. And yay! It's really just something I cobble together, but I actually end up using it many times a day. And actually I found the question interesting, like, how do you sell this thing to investors? I actually think what will happen a lot more is that a larger and larger group of people will be empowered to sort of make the tools to solve their own problems.
Yeah.
I think that's where this whole AI thing is going, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for...
That's
Yeah.
like how much context it can have until it runs out. It depends on the model, or
Yeah, so right now I'm just using Llama 3 70 billion, so it's an 8K context window. By how it works now, it only sees the previous command and its output, so it doesn't actually use a whole lot of
only the
context.
because you were asking, did it fix it now? I thought it was checking actually all their stuff too.
It's kind of surprising how much it understands from, because then usually the previous command was already me typing to the LLM that I wanted something.
Right.
I actually have also made, like if I do this, now it will actually keep on adding all the commands to the context
Okay.
whenever you interact with LLM. However, it's not compatible yet. I still have to fix it with the shell command generation, because that uses a different system prompt, but this is still just,
Right.
yeah, getting
Alright.
it right, basically.
Have you come across a project called AI Native Shell? What? So
Yes.
very similar.
I actually have it installed. However, yeah, no, I'm not going to try that live now. I don't remember what the issue was, but I believe it doesn't do this same thing. I think you can ask it a question about the last output, but then it doesn't take your command, and you cannot just execute it after that. I actually found it more limited than this thing does, but they're definitely going there. Another thing that I like about this, so especially since this can very easily just pull all kinds of data from files on my drive, I really like to be able to run it locally. You know, I don't want an AI just sending all my personal stuff to all these random places.
128 gigs M3 will do just that.
Sorry?
128 gigs M3 will run the 70 billion parameter model, but not as fast as Grok.
I'm actually, so this has 64 gigs. I'm just running the 4-bit quantized version of 70B.
Is that enough?
So the full model on Grok runs just the full float 16 thing. It is more stable. I mainly notice with the quantized version that if you give it a lot of context, it tends to become unstable. But for sort of this sort of work, I think it would work, yeah.
And have you tried skipping down to the AP or 70 kind of range? Or is it that complete garbage?
So I'm using the, oh right, no, the AP, I find them a lot worse, basically. Yeah.
Do you think it will get will do a better job if you let it do function calls so that it can decide to do like git diff, ls,
I
read the contents of files that
I
it finds are
actually-
interesting.
I actually have that as well.
Yeah, let's go.
I forgot AI here. So basically, no. So basically, yeah, the mnemonic is so AI and then airflow or airglow, and the more letters you add, the more capabilities you get. So what I did now, I launched a REPL shell. That actually does have function calling. So now it's seeing the functions that it has. I can, for example, say, open the CNN website in the browser. But what's very cool, because it knows the file system and can write to the file system, it can write its own functions, right? So I can, for example, ask it, write a function that will retrieve the data from a URL and return it. Write it like in the examples above. This one, by the way, is just running GPT-4o. But it does it. This is the OpenAI schema. This looks right to me, so I'm just going to tell it to write it. So now it will tell me it's calling the function write file and writing this file. Okay. Now I do need to restart it for it to load its functions again. Now let's find the URL. Let's say, just to read me of this thing. Let's get to the raw one. Read the contents of and give me a summary. So I don't actually know whether this code will work, right? It's just been written by a large language model. Yeah, here. Ooh. So it's very cool. It just writes itself, basically. It's quite fun to interact with.
Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.